LeBron. You guys have won these last two games. Obviously, there's been good offense, but defensively, really, in a lot of different ways. What was the big key in the last three quarters tonight defensively? And do you like to see kind of that this group can win by outscoring teams or this way too?
Yeah, we got to have the ability to be able to do winning all facets. Sometimes it's going to be outscoring teams, but for the majority, we want to win games by defending. When we defend, we rebound. We're able to get on a run and get in early transition, and either get fast break points or we're able to get into our our early actions, give ourselves a lot of time on the offensive end. So tonight was one of those instances after the first quarter where they had, I believe, 36 points or whatever the case may be. After that, they had 58 for the rest of the game. I think 56 or 58, but it just showed what we're capable of, and we want to continue that going forward.
If LeBron, homecoming games, for lack of a better term, are such a big part of the NBA experience, you had one of the more remarkable ones when you first went back to Cleveland. Last year, you guys had that battle in New Orleans, making a comeback in AD's return. Can you comment or remark on the experience for Marc Gasol going back to Memphis for the first time in what is such a different season?
I just hope that when we get our fans back, that Marc can get another one. Because he deserves it. What he did for this franchise over the course of those years. It was hell coming here playing them. Playing Marc and Zebo and Ta. The rest of that group, man, throughout those years, you knew it was going to be a grind, as they would call it, the grindhouse. I truly hope that they re-show that video again when they get their fans back in here, because not only what he was able to do on the floor, he just meant so much off the floor as well. The guy actually, he even went to high school here for 2 years when Powell was playing in Memphis. So, he's been a part of this community for a long time.
All right, a couple more. Bill Orm.
Hey, LeBron. Coming into this season, there was a line of thinking externally that you would ease into the season, or you would pace yourself due to the nature of the season. And with most things, when people say this is what LeBron should do or this is what LeBron's going to do, it so far doesn't seem to be the case. But are there ways in which you have paced yourself this season, or are pacing yourself right now, or do you just reject that line of thinking?
Nah. I continue to take care of my body and take care of my mind to be able to endure whatever the case may be. And obviously the short layoff, the 71 days between, us finishing and having to get back re-going, it definitely put a monkey wrench into my usual regimen of rest in my body and then getting back and going full, hard core on my training. I didn't really have that opportunity to kind of shut down my body and then go and revamp my body and get ready for the season. It just wasn't enough time. So, being able to, it's a fine line now where how much we push, how much rest, and also stay in good rhythm, because myself and our team, we built so much great rhythm in the bubble that, want to try to continue that as much as we can. So, for me, it's always about just having my mind and my body fresh. And if my mind is sharp, then I can go out and do whatever I need to do on the floor, and if it's not, then it hurts not only myself, but it hurts our team. So, that's the most important for me.
Last question, Kyle Goon.
LeBron, I guess there were a couple fans in San Antonio and then maybe more fans tonight. Does that register? What's sort of the gradient of having, I don't know, more than 1,000 fans versus having a full?
Well, it's a great feeling, to be honest, just to have anyone in the stands. It feels like it's been so long, since we had that, and it's been since March of 2020, since we, I think that last game at Staples when we played Brooklyn was the last time we had fans. So, to be able to come into an arena and just see a sprinkle or a dab of, fans here, in the lower bowl or, the mid bowl all the way to the upper bowl. Seeing a few of them sitting, I guess off side of court side. It's a beautiful feeling, and I hope, we can continue to build that and continue to even get back at some point where, we're packing the stadiums again. So obviously health comes first. Continue to follow the protocols and with and continue to be safe with everyone's family and things of that nature. But sport is not sport without fans, and then without the yelling and the screaming and the support and all.
Hey, Anthony, just wondered what you've noticed so far from Montrez, especially tonight, and kind of how that bench impacted and how you play next to him, how you think that will play moving forward.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player. He brings that energy, that spark off the bench. He's able to, get to his floaters. He stays on the glass offensively for us to get us extra possessions. Great at defense. Continuously learning to adapt to our system on both sides of the ball. But when you're a special talent, like he is, he's able to adapt quickly. So when he comes in, we know we're going to bring that energy, whether we're down or up. He's going to bring that spark for us to, get us back in games or increase leads.
You guys won 17 straight games in the West on the road last year, and of course the sold-out crowds, right? You got a lot of Laker fans, but also the home fans going hard against you. What has it been like these last three without that element, or at least without close to that? And how is there a different way that you guys have to kind of find some motivation and such?
We have our own motivation. Obviously, with the fans, it's a little bit different. Especially with the Lakers, they travel so well in visiting arenas that we're able to feed off their energy. But like I say, we have guys like, Trez West, even in our starting unit, we bring our own energy. Duds, QC, Costas, and Devontae, all these guys bring that energy and always talking to us, hyping us up when we're on the floor. Those guys might not play a lot, but they find ways to help us win. Especially tonight, they were able to, stay in our ear, just tell us to keep playing. A lot of shots wasn't falling for a couple guys, especially early, those the guys who was able to, tell us keep going, bringing that energy, clapping for us and things like that, telling us we'll be all right. So, we definitely have to find our own energy, but I think we did a good job finding that energy while we were on the road.
Maybe you guys used a late run to put this one away, and one of the early buckets in the run was you playing a two-man game with LeBron, rolling him, hitting you the pocket pass, and you go for the floater. I want to know if you can tell me what the origins of that shot, when you incorporate it into your game. Is that back in Chicago days before you grew?
Okay, you didn't see my floater all last year?
Not that much.
I'm like, what? I was probably in New Orleans. I used to do it all the time. But yeah, I mean, me and Trey just had an argument about who has the best floater as a big. My floaters, I'll bring it out more for you guys now, but are you serious? Did you guys hear that?
Oh,
they heard?
Are you stupid? It happen all the time.
That shit.
Well, maybe not. No. Maybe not in a 6-point game with 3 minutes. To
no, yes, yeah. So, Bron does a great job of getting downhill and putting pressure on the big and reading that and reading that play, reading the defender. So, he either finished the layup or his, I don't know if he have a good floater or not, but his little midi jump shot, and then, or hit the pocket pass to me or skip it weak side for a three. So, we just try to, figure out ways to exploit the defense and all their schemes, especially, with their bigs playing back tonight. But, I've always kind of had the floater. And it really just came from when I was my early years in the league. I wasn't the strongest guy in the world, so, I kind of hated just going to the paint and just, when you're a rookie, second year, you don't really get many foul calls. So I just kind of developed that floater to, stop from going into, the lane and getting fouled.
Kyle? Just especially after the first quarter you guys had today, what do you miss the most when KCP and Alex both can't play at the same position, and how does it scramble your defense, to start games like that?
Yeah, I think we did a good job tonight to start. It kind of just fell off, but, KCP, is one of our best defenders, and he's going to guard, the best wing, especially a guy their shooter who's flying around. Like, he probably would start on Dylan Brooks for sure tonight. AC, also a tough guy, picking up 94 feet. He was able to also be our backup PG. And so now it's a scramble when Brian and Dennis is out there, one getting foul trouble and the other one gets tired or something. Now, we bring Taylor in for a PG, but, Taylor more of a two guard. So we don't really have that, that true PG that we usually have when Alex is around. But we adjust. But, it's tough not having those guys. They're a big part of our team and our offense. And when we're able to have those guys on the floor, they just bring a different dynamic for our team.
Last two, Dan.
I'll give you a minute.
Go ahead, Dan.
With the compressed offseason, and kind of the nature of this season, with no fans and stuff like that, how much are you going to have to monitor? Sort of, you mentioned energy a couple of times. How much do you guys have to monitor being able to create that? And I'm curious, kind of, what are some of the things that happen on the court, like in a game like this, that kind of do inject the game with energy when it seems like it needs to?
I think for us, we kind of feed off ourselves, and a lot of times we feed off the crowd, but we got used to feeding off ourselves. When we go on runs, like we had, tonight, to start the game, we usually have that crowd noise, Laker Nation, cheering for us and giving us that spark. And then when they go on the run, we combat that run. Like I said, we had that noise, but now it's ourselves. Coach put a lot of emphasis on our bench to continuously to talk. And it started in the bubble, knowing that we weren't going to have any fans. We needed our bench to kind of be that fan base for us. And we've done a good job of doing so, but it is different not having the fans there, especially when we go on runs. We're down 12, and coming back on that run, even though we were able to complete it and finish the game and get the win, when you're in the playoffs or playing another team, you might need those fans, especially when we're at home. So we got to find ways to just continue to bring our own energy, bring that noise, bring that positive energy to our group, and I think we can get a job done.
Last one, Jovan.
Hey, Eddie. This season you're averaging a career high in assists, and I'm curious, was that a point of emphasis for you in the shortened off season, or is that because you guys have more offensive weapons this season, or what would you attribute that to?
Well, I'm just trying to add more to my game. I know a lot of teams try to double, just to make me get a different look and not score. So the best way to beat a double team, is to find an open guy, and our guys are making shots. I just got to do my job and draw a double. Once I do that, find the right guy, whether it's in front of me, weak side corner, the big down in the middle, or whatever it is. I got to make the read, and that's how you make your team better. I haven't been scoring like you guys used to, but I've been making the right plays and finding my teammates who've been doing a great job of knocking down shots, and just continuously making plays for others. And it's good that I have Mark here, because I've been learning a lot from Mark as far as passing bigs from the top, from the elbow, from the post. Just trying to figure out
Hey Frank, just given the challenges of this season, tonight you don't have KCP or Caruso. How important is it to have a bench that can come in and change the game energy-wise, which seemed to happen in this one?
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about our team is our depth and our ability to handle a couple of guys being out in particular at the same position, defensive same position anyway. The guy, our chasers. But those guys played well. Wes, Talon, Trez, and Keefe, really gave us a lift off the bench, and big part of the victory.
Just specifically with Montrezl, Frank, what did you see from him tonight?
Energy. He just you have to honor everything he does on the offensive end, whether he's ducking in or rolling to the basket. He's really picked up his offensive rebounding, from early in the season, and obviously gives great defensive determination and fight as well with his communication. And I thought he did a great job, not only rebounding the ball defensively, but boxing out. You know what I mean? And this is a selfless thing to give yourself up, to get your body into a bigger guy like Valanciunas, and let some of the guards, or you saw Braun with 13 defensive rebounds. Let some of the guards come back and rebound while he's doing the dirty work underneath and wiping the crashers off the glass. It doesn't show up on the box score, but really did a great job with that.
And Frank, not the first time that we've seen LeBron take over in a fourth quarter. I just wonder your perspective on the sideline when you're seeing him do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him a blow so he doesn't play the whole fourth quarter, and he keeps making big plays. It's tough to take him out. We were able to find a spot, to get him a rest so we don't overdo it in the fourth. But he was terrific. You know what I mean? He knew what he wanted to go to in terms of the action that he wanted to exploit in their defense. And, we kept putting him in that action, and he delivered, big shots, big plays with the pass, and, obviously, brought us home offensively during that, that fourth quarter.
Dave? Frank, last game we were asking you about Anthony being a 6'11 guy who's shooting threes off the bounce. Today, I think it's a 6-point game. There's a high screen for LeBron. LeBron's with a pocket pass, and he's shooting a floater. Can you just speak about the variety of his skill set, and in particular, a floater from a 6'11 guy?
Yeah, I mean, he can shoot. He can do it all. Anthony's shot making is what makes him a top 5 player in this league. And whether it's in the low post with all his footwork moves, his ability to jab and shoot over guys, his hooks around the basket, his ability to finish around the basket on rolls and offensive rebounds, and the 3-ball, and you saw tonight the floater. So, he really can do it all.
Hey, Frank, there was a sequence, I think, where Memphis had 3 guys kind of crashing the offensive rebound as a loose ball, and LeBron was the guy that was fastest to it, took you guys the other way, and got you out in transition. You talked for this isn't a guy you can hold back because of his competitiveness. Like, if he's on the court, he's going to go. What have you thought of his effort levels and knowing kind of his short offseason, just seeing that competitiveness sort of just take over and kind of push in nights like tonight?
No, I love it. We'll manage, his minutes and all that stuff in a responsible way. But when he's out on the floor, that's who he is. He's as competitive as anybody in the league. And, like I said, 13 defensive rebounds, that's hard to do when you're not a center. That's just competitive spirit, wanting to win, and, being determined. And obviously he carried a big offensive scoring load, but what he did, like you said, in those stretches defensively, we held these guys to 40 points in the second half, after 36 in the first quarter. So really did it on both ends of the floor.
Frank, is 32 minutes kind of the target, the rough target for him on a nightly basis? Seems like that you guys have been around that a lot.
Just be responsible. That's the only target. Just try to be responsible with it.
I'm sure you're going to want to look at film for this, but you mentioned, KCP, Alex being out at the same position defensively. Do you feel like that had a lot to do with how you guys were rotating in the first half and getting behind initially?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think the speed that those 2 guys bring to the table and the connectivity, there's a lot of scrambling and rotating and working off the next man that, I think, those 2 guys have spent a lot of time together over the last few years, but also with our group last year, that is just a little bit slow with some of the reads, when you're rotating in a defense like that. So we did lack some of that early on, but our guys are vets and they're pros, and I thought they did a good job figuring out a game. After we've seen this with our group several times last year, even a couple times this year, where it takes the first quarter to sort of figure out what the other team's attack is going to look like, and what we have to do to adjust in game, to get them under control. And you see second quarter 18 points, third quarter 21 points, fourth quarter 19. After a 36-point first quarter, that's what we're looking for. That's figuring out an opponent, making the in-game adjustments, and doing what's necessary to get a win.
Last question, Jovan.
Hey Frank, with Alex and KCP out the last couple of games, Talon has played consecutive season high, minute totals. I'm curious what you thought of his performance as he started to play more.
Yeah, he's carrying a much bigger load, obviously, than he was early in the season, and we haven't had a lot of practice time, so all of our guys are struggling to get their legs really